Hello my friends. Today I will bring you into focus something different. I'm going to show you how an idea with tremendous potential for freedom of market and transactions was crushed, and how this attack could be linked to a government conspiracy to lead people to use the newly improved and fully government-controlled and taxed cryptocurrency. We're talking about the cashless society agenda and how the only coin used will be digital and fully tracked by the government. So let me rephrase. I'm not saying all digital currency is bad. I'm saying people-run digital currency is great, and that government-controlled and taxed digital currency is bad.
So the UK is currently the head of the G7 group. That's the world's most economically advanced countries. And the UK currently chairs the G7 group. Our Chancellor, who does our economy, called Chancellor of the Exchequer, his name's Rishi Sunak. He put out this video saying that what they want to do is bring in this thing called the central banking digital currency. They want to replace fiat paper money with digital money as a competitor to Bitcoin and crypto money, right? But instead of being decentralized currency, it will be controlled by a government. It's digital currency, but controlled centrally through the banks, Bank of England. So instead of having a bank account with whatever, HSBC or Bank of America, you'll have a bank account directly with, in the American context, with the Fed. In the UK, directly with the Bank of England. You have a personal bank account, and you're given digital money in that bank account. These are called central banking digital currencies. The Chancellor of the Exchequer in the UK has already announced their intention to do this as the G7 group. Digital currency should be programmable. See that one there? Yeah? Why is that word programmable in there? So what they said in that article, and the Chancellor put a video out saying this as well, they've said that this money that you will earn from work, instead of having paper money, you have this digital money. It's programmable so that you can't buy certain foods, or if you do something that your employer doesn't like, it's all in that article. You won't be able to spend your money. In other words, it's not money. They're vouchers. They're like food vouchers. And they can be programmed so that, like the Chinese social credit system, that if you try and use them on a certain thing, it won't work. You say you want to buy a burger and they want you to buy bugs, which is one of the examples used. If you start to try and buy unhealthy meat, it just won't work. You tap your card, you can't buy the thing because you've met your quota that month of burgers. So there's the video.
The group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside...
Right, so that's the guy who runs our economy in the UK. His name's the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And here is the article. Bank of England tells ministers to intervene on digital currency programming, yeah? And here's a quote from the article. Digital cash could be programmed to ensure it is only spent on essentials or goods which an employer or government deems to be sensible.
There are tools that help people to become independent from state control, including in the financial territory, to bring things in the direction of decentralized finance. And that is where UST comes in, and why I think it was potentially attacked during this mysterious event that just happened. This month, the cryptocurrency market has seen a level of volatility which, even for the typically volatile nature of cryptocurrency, is quite remarkable. The stablecoin called Terra USD, or UST, has begun to collapse as it fell off its peg and struggles desperately to return. Stablecoins are a type of cryptocurrency which are pegged to a fiat currency, many of the most widely used being pegged to the US dollar. UST branded itself as a decentralized stablecoin, which made it more attractive to proponents of decentralized finance than other stablecoins such as USDC, which are much more highly centrally owned and distributed. The founders wanted to create a better form of money for transactions than Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They also wanted to provide better options for people than traditional savings and investment accounts, creating apps that gave high yield returns on these kinds of investments. UST is an algorithmic stablecoin, which means it is not backed up by reserves of fiat currency or other assets, but instead keeps its peg to the dollar by a mint and burn mechanism, being tied to another coin called Terra. This essentially is a deflationary coin with an elastic supply, working in a way which is designed to keep UST's value at 1:1 to the US dollar. There is speculation that a single actor, with these transactions being entirely visible on the blockchain, has intentionally manipulated the price of UST by removing a large amount of its liquidity from a cryptocurrency exchange called Curve. They then proceeded to sell it off pushing the selling pressure downwards and making it difficult for its counterpart Luna to absorb. As huge amounts of Luna were minted, its price also deflated, creating what some refer to as the death spiral. The result has been the subsequent almost complete collapse of Luna, which has gone from being one of the top 10 cryptos to almost at zero. This has inevitably had a knock-on effect to the entire crypto market. The founder of UST had earlier this year announced that Bitcoin was being purchased to act as a reserve for UST. However, the selling of Bitcoin to try and save UST triggered a massive downward push in Bitcoin as well, which has also fallen to lower than $30,000. One of the other most popular stablecoins, USDT, also lost its peg briefly and still hasn't fully returned. Some in the cryptocurrency space are asking if this was a coordinated attack. There are various conspiracy theories based around the fact that UST was a competitor to other stablecoins. Others go deeper and say this is a part of the attempt to delegitimize all stablecoins and cryptocurrency in general, to breed mistrust and to pave the way for more acceptance of government-issued central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. The US Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, has already mentioned UST and implied the need for more regulation.
Now, one area where Republicans and the White House might be able to work together is on stable coins. There's a lot of concern over the lack of transparency in the underlying assets. Both sides today said they want to work on legislation that would create a sensible federal framework, and that legislation could happen this year.
Was the Ponzi scheme all along? 20% interest too good to be true? Was it just a flaw in the mechanics, or a conspiracy to bring down a competitor to big players and government institutions? Or both? I just know one thing from looking at history, and that is every time a good invention was created by the people for the people, it was stolen and used for reasons of control by the empire, or by the kingdom, or by the state. From religion used for war, from science used to create surveillance, war and disease, to the internet, which is now more regulated than ever and used as an instrument of surveillance and mind control, to money, which was first taxed on a massive scale by the Roman Empire, and now, if the government cryptocurrency is going to succeed, is not only going to be taxed, but also tracked, so that they know what you will do with every coin that you spend.
He's telling us, I just played it there for you, he's telling us that's what he, as the UK, the head of the G7, want to bring in for the G7. And if I'm speaking to you the way I'm speaking now, and my employer or government, you heard that in the quote directly, yeah, deems me as saying or doing something inappropriate, suddenly I can't actually pay to come here and speak to you anymore. My digital currency won't even pay for the ticket, because it will be known that I'm coming to speak to you. Sorry, your vouchers don't allow you to purchase that ticket to go and speak to you. What's going on here is, with this central banking digital currency, if you get to that situation where you end up with the Chinese social credit system in the West, why would anyone want to do that, right? I believe we're in a moment of the Gutenberg press. Go back to when the printing press was invented. Technology disrupts power structures. It always has. Printing and its invention was a new technology. What happened when they invented the printing press? The power structures who up until that point were reading the Bible for you and were telling you that you've got to pay this priest X amount of favors and he'll forgive you your sins. And that became a bribery system, right? Which is what Martin Luther was so upset about when he pinned his thesis to the wall. The printing press disrupted that power dynamic because people could read the Bible for themselves. And they began realizing that the power structures were manipulating what was written to control people. Now, nobody in hindsight is going to argue that printing and its invention is a bad thing for humanity. But at the time, it led to war. It led to the 30 Years' War in Europe, because it disrupted power so much that people began rising up, and it led to this 30-year period of war, which eventually led to the Reformation, and the rest is history, right? What's today's Gutenberg press? The internet. The decentralization of information, and then because of that, the decentralization of currency in the form of crypto is disrupting power. Because the way that after the revolution of the Reformation and the printing press, control was still possible, though obviously not to that level, which is why we no longer have those absolute monarchies. But control in a nation-state context was still possible to an extent because the money supply was controlled. Now, what's happening is that the invention of the internet, with the decentralization of information, and in particular here, the decentralization of currency in the form of cryptocurrencies, is disrupting those power hierarchies, and it's leading to this conflict now. And we're in a moment when the printing press was invented, the powers that be needed to try and hold on to that power as the 30 Years' War kicked off. They eventually lost it, but to hold on to it, they became very brutal because they were losing their grip on power. Today, to have the infrastructure in place that you can have a checkpoint Charlie society, so that when the central banking digital currencies are in place, that infrastructure is already there because people were so scared they voluntarily allowed you to put that in place, so that you can maintain your grip on power, because what's coming around the corner is the decentralization of everything, of media, therefore of narrative, and of course remember, whoever defines the truth gets to define reality. Decentralization of the economy through crypto. You no longer have the power to define the story and control the money supply. So the powers that be, who are losing that power, need to clamp down. They're clamping down on their own children, because we are people who are born of the West. So it's an internal civil war in a hybrid war context over truth and over information. Centralization versus decentralization. It's no longer about left or right. It's about up versus down. It's about power versus those who don't have power.
People try to escape and make their own decentralized thing, far away from regulations, or make their own way towards that. But they were stopped brutally with covert tactics. Now, of course, you can make your own opinion of this. The guy who invented UST had a project before that also failed, so maybe it's not a conspiracy. Either way, the event will be used by the governments to say, hey, see this alternative stuff over here? It fails. Trust us instead. And we will make you this world digital currency so that we can make your lives easier and your business faster than ever. And you don't even have to have a card. We'll make you our state-approved crypto chip to be implanted in your body for your convenience. Use it at all stores around the world, but also when you pay your local farmer for an egg. We will know everything that you do. Oh, did I say no? I mean help. Yes, we will help with everything that you do. Make sure that you'll pay us our share like the mafia that we are. This is ridiculous, guys. And I'm just here to tell you to not let it happen. Be aware also of these things, even though they might seem a little bit complicated. This is Vostok Vlad, signing out.